The massive alien ship hung over Seoul like a silver cloud. On the ground, thousands of people stared up at it, their phones recording the historic moment. Inside the Seoul World Cup Stadium, where the first meeting would take place, Hansol adjusted his tie for the 10th time. "Stop fidgeting," Soo-min whispered from his left. As head of security, she kept scanning the empty stadium seats. "You're making me nervous." Hansol smiled weakly. As Earth's chosen diplomat, he carried the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. The stadium had been cleared of all spectators, leaving only a small team of human representatives and security personnel. A bright blue light appeared in the center of the field. Hansol straightened his back as 3 tall, silver-skinned aliens materialized. They had 4 arms each and moved with incredible grace. The one in front wore what looked like flowing metal robes. "Welcome to Earth," Hansol said clearly, bowing slightly. "I am Hansol, Earth's diplomatic representative." The alien in front tilted its head. When it spoke, its words came through a small device on its chest. "I am Ambassador Catrix of the Stellar Coalition. We bring greetings from 57 spacefaring species." The meeting went better than anyone had expected. The aliens were peaceful and wanted to trade. They offered advanced technology in exchange for Earth's unique resources and cultural artifacts. But something else caught their attention. During a break in the talks, one of the alien guards dropped his water container. Before it hit the ground, Soo-min caught it with a quick move. The aliens stared at her with their large purple eyes. "Remarkable reaction speed," Catrix said. "And you used no enhancement devices." "No," Soo-min replied. "Just regular training." The aliens spoke among themselves in quick, musical sounds. Catrix turned back to Hansol. "We have reviewed your species' history. You advance quickly and adapt to new tools with surprising ease. This interests us greatly." Hansol noticed how the alien guards kept watching Soo-min's movements. Even the way she held her simple pen seemed to fascinate them. "The Coalition needs species that can think differently," Catrix continued. "We would like to offer Earth full membership with one condition." "What condition?" Hansol asked. "Send your best military minds to train with our forces. We want to study how humans use tools and weapons." Later that day, in a secure room beneath the stadium, Earth's leaders discussed the offer via video call. Hansol listened as presidents and prime ministers debated the opportunity. "They're offering us the stars," Hansol said finally, "and all they want is to learn how we think and fight." The vote was unanimous. Earth would join the coalition. 1 week later, Jinwoo stood before Hansol, accepting his new role as humanity's first military liaison to the coalition forces. Jinwoo had been chosen for his creative thinking and exceptional combat skills. "Remember," Hansol told him, "you're not just representing Earth's military. You're showing them humanity's special talent for turning anything into a tool, or if needed, a weapon." Jinwoo nodded, his expression serious. "I understand, sir. When do I leave?" "Tomorrow. The coalition ship will take you to their training center." Hansol handed him a simple metal pen. "Here's your first lesson for them. Show them how many ways a human can use this." Jinwoo looked at the pen and smiled. He already saw 12 ways to use it beyond writing. 3 of them potentially lethal. This was why the aliens were so interested in humans. Where other species saw objects for their intended purpose, humans saw possibilities. As Jinwoo left the room, Hansol watched through the window as more alien ships appeared in Earth's sky. Humanity's next great adventure was about to begin, and it would start with a simple lesson. In human hands, everything is a tool, and any tool can become a weapon. Jinwoo's first day at the Coalition Training Center did not go as expected. His alien classmates towered over him, their advanced battle suits glowing with power. He stood in his simple Earth military uniform, holding only a basic training bag. "You are the human." His instructor, Ja-young, approached him. She was from one of the older coalition species with blue-tinted skin and silver eyes. I expected someone bigger. The other trainees laughed. They came from the strongest military forces in the galaxy. Some had extra arms, others had natural armor. All carried weapons that looked like they came from science fiction movies. Today's test is simple, Jai Young announced. Each trainee must disable 5 combat drones. Use any method you choose. She pointed to a wall of advanced weapons. Select your equipment. The alien trainees rushed to grab the best weapons. Jinwoo walked past them and picked up a training mat, some cleaning supplies, and a few tools from the maintenance box. The others stared at him like he was crazy. Human. A large 4-armed trainee called out. The real weapons are over there. These are just cleaning supplies. Jinwoo smiled. Everything is a weapon. It just depends on how you use it. The test began. The alien trainees charged forward with their energy weapons, making quick work of their drones. They moved with incredible speed and power. When they finished, they turned to watch Jinwoo, expecting to laugh at his failure. Instead, their jaws dropped. Jinwoo had spread cleaning fluid on the floor in specific patterns. When the first drone came at him, it slipped and crashed. He wrapped it in the training mat and used it as a shield against the second drone's attacks. The cleaning fluid was flammable, a fact he had learned from reading the label. A spark from the crashed drone ignited it, creating a controlled fire that confused the drone's sensors. Using the maintenance tools, he quickly disabled the confused drones one by one. In under 5 minutes, all 5 of his drones lay broken on the floor. He had not used a single advanced weapon. The room fell silent. How did you know the cleaning fluid was flammable? Jai Young asked, her silver eyes wide. I read the warning label, Jinwoo replied. On Earth, we learn to read warning labels very carefully. They tell you exactly how something can be dangerous. But those were just simple items. Another trainee protested. Basic maintenance supplies. There are no basic items, Jinwoo explained. Everything has multiple uses. Humans learn this as children. A stick can be a sword, a tool, or a walking support. A simple pen can write, stab, or become a blow dart. We see possibilities in everything. Jai Young studied him with new interest. Show me more, she said. Show me what else humans can do with simple items. For the next hour, Jinwoo demonstrated how to turn everyday objects into tools and weapons. He showed them 30 ways to use a simple rope, 15 uses for a plastic bottle, and 20 techniques with a metal tray. The alien trainees watched in silence, their earlier mockery forgotten. At the end of the day, Jai Young made an announcement. Starting tomorrow, we add a new class, Human Tactical Innovation. Jinwoo will teach us how to think differently about ordinary objects. As Jinwoo packed his bag, he heard the other trainees whispering. They no longer saw him as weak or primitive. Now they understood why the coalition was so interested in humans. His species had spent thousands of years turning simple things into tools and weapons. This wasn't just training anymore. It was a revelation. Tomorrow, he told them with a smile, I'll show you what humans can do with a pencil and some rubber bands. Trust me, you won't believe it. Word spread quickly through the Coalition Training Center about the human who could turn cleaning supplies into weapons. Some alien species found this disturbing. Others were impressed. But the Krell warriors were angry. The Krell were the Coalition's best fighters. They had thick armor-like skin and massive strength. Their leader, Commander Vax, did not like how much attention the humans were getting. We challenged the humans, Vax announced during morning assembly. A survival test on planet D-17. 2 champions from each species. No energy weapons allowed. Jinwoo stood calmly as the room erupted in excited chatter. He had expected this. The Krell never accepted new species easily. I accept, he said, but I choose my partner. He picked Su-min, who had just arrived at the station, as Earth's combat specialist. She was shorter than most aliens there, but her eyes showed no fear. The rules are simple, Jai Young explained. She pulled up a map of planet D17. Each team gets basic survival gear. You must reach the extraction point in 3 days while avoiding hunter teams. If you're caught, you lose. The other species laughed when they saw the humans' gear: a tent, some rope, basic food, and camping tools. The Krull warriors got similar items, but added their ceremonial bone knives. Their natural armor meant they needed fewer supplies. "This is too easy," Vax boasted. "The humans won't last 1 day." Su Min checked their supplies quietly. "Jinwu," she whispered, "the tent poles are aluminum. The stakes are steel." Jinwu nodded. "And the rope is nylon, strong enough to hold 400 pounds. They smiled at each other. Where others saw camping gear, they saw materials for weapons and traps. The teams were dropped at different points on the planet. D17 had thick forests and many small rivers. The air was safe to breathe, but the local animals were dangerous. "First thing," Jin Wu said as they landed, "we need to set up defenses." He showed Su Min how to turn their tent into a shelter and use the leftover materials for weapons. They worked quickly. Su Min turned the tent poles into spears and a bow. Jin Wu made traps from the rope and stakes. They used the tent fabric to make camouflage covers and water collectors. Movement to the east, Su Min whispered that evening. 2 Krull hunters crashed through the forest, looking for teams to catch. They were making lots of noise, confident in their strength. The Krull never saw the thin rope tripwire. The first hunter fell into a pit lined with sharpened tent stakes. The second tried to run but got tangled in a net trap made from the tent's rain cover. "Impossible," one Krull shouted. "These are just camping supplies." "No," Jin Wu said, stepping out of the shadows. "These are tools, and humans can turn any tool into a weapon." News of the Krull hunters' defeat spread through the competition. Other teams began avoiding the areas where the humans traveled. They had learned an important lesson. It wasn't the equipment that made humans dangerous. It was their ability to see the deadly potential in everyday things. That night, as Jin Wu and Su Min prepared for their next day's journey, they heard distant shouts and explosions. "Sounds like someone found our other traps," Su Min said with a small smile. "Tomorrow we head for the extraction point," Jin Wu replied. "But first, let's show them what we can do with these food containers and some river mud." The humans' reputation was growing, and this was just the beginning of their survival challenge. The second day on planet D17 started with rain. Jin Wu and Su Min used this to their advantage. While other teams struggled with the wet conditions, the humans gathered rainwater in their food containers and studied the muddy ground for tracks. 3 teams passed here, Su Min said, pointing at footprints in the mud. 2 Krull groups and 1 Pixis team. The Pixis were known for their speed and climbing abilities. Jin Wu nodded and pulled out their map. "The extraction point is across that river. Everyone will expect us to use the shallow crossing point here." He pointed to a marked spot on the map. "So we do something they won't expect?" Su Min asked with a smile. "Exactly." They spent the morning preparing. Jin Wu taught Su Min how to make a strong rope from tree bark and vines. They collected sap from tall trees and mixed it with mud. They even used their leftover food wrappers, shining them to make them reflective. Near the river crossing, other teams had set up ambush points. They waited for the humans to walk into their traps. But Jin Wu and Su Min weren't there. 2 miles upstream, they worked on their own plan. They built a simple raft from dead trees, using their remaining rope and vine ropes to hold it together. The food containers, sealed tight, became flotation devices. "Look," Su Min pointed across the river. A Pixis team was watching the water from a high tree. Their long fingers and sharp claws made them excellent climbers. "Time to use our surprises," Jin Wu said. They placed their shiny food wrappers in different spots along the bank, angled to catch the sun. The bright reflections confused and distracted the Pixis team. Next, they threw mud balls mixed with tree sap into the trees. The sticky mixture made climbing difficult and blocked the Pixis team's famous grip. "Now," Jin Woo whispered. They pushed their raft into the water. The current was strong, but their food container floats kept the raft stable. As they crossed, a Krell team spotted them and ran along the bank. "Ready with the spears?" Jin Woo asked. Su-min held up their tent pole spears, now tipped with sharpened metal from their camping tools. "Ready." The Krell reached the riverside and tried to grab the raft, but the humans had covered the edges with their leftover food. The packages were filled with the slipperiest mud they could find. The Krell's strong hands couldn't get a grip. "Impossible," one Krell warrior shouted as he slipped and fell into the river. The humans made it across safely. Behind them, they left confused alien teams wondering how they had been defeated by humans using mud, food wrappers, and tree sap. "We're halfway to the extraction point," Jin Woo said as they pulled their raft ashore. "But the last part will be the hardest." Su-min was already taking the raft apart, saving useful pieces. "Good. I want to show them what else we can do with these materials." From a nearby hill, Jae-young watched through binoculars. As the training instructor, she monitored all teams. She spoke into her recorder. "Human team continues to demonstrate extraordinary creativity. They have transformed basic survival gear into multiple tools and weapons. Most impressive is their ability to use natural materials to enhance their equipment." That evening, as other teams set up secure camps with their remaining gear, Jin Woo and Su-min prepared for their final push to the extraction point. They had used or transformed almost all their original supplies, but they weren't worried. "Remember what they taught us in basic training?" Su-min asked as she sharpened a wooden spike. Jin Woo smiled. "Everything is a resource. Every resource is a tool. And in human hands, every tool is a potential weapon." They finished together. The last day of the challenge was about to begin. In the Coalition's main observation ship above planet D-17, Dr. Tahi stood before a room full of alien scientists. On large screens behind her, videos showed Jin Woo and Su-min's journey through the survival challenge. "As you can see," she said, pointing to a screen showing the humans making weapons from tent poles, "this isn't just clever thinking. It's part of who we are." The alien scientists watched with great interest. One of them, a tall researcher named Zax, raised all three of his hands. "But how did your species develop this ability?" Tahi showed them a new image. Early human cave paintings. It started millions of years ago. Our ancestors weren't the strongest or fastest. We didn't have natural weapons like claws or thick skin. We had to use our minds. The screens changed to show humans using simple tools throughout history. First, we used sticks and stones. Then we learned to make spears and arrows. Each generation taught the next how to turn simple things into tools. "But that doesn't explain why humans see weapons everywhere," another scientist said. Tahi smiled and pulled out a simple pencil. "What do you see?" she asked. "A writing tool," they all answered. "I see 17 different ways to use this," she said. 5 of them could save my life in danger. 3 could help me build shelter. 4 could help me get food." Humans don't just see objects. We see possibilities. On the screens, Jin Woo and Su-min were now crossing a dangerous field. They had made shields from tree bark and created smoke bombs from wet leaves and hot stones. "Watch how they test each new material," Tahi pointed out. "Humans constantly ask ourselves, how else can I use this?" It's not about making weapons. It's about survival. The alien scientists took rapid notes. One of them played back the scene where the humans turned their tent into 5 different tools. "This is why humans learn so fast," Tahi continued. "When you show us new technology, we immediately think of different ways to use it. It's not because we're smarter. It's because we've spent our entire history turning simple things into tools for survival." Just then, the screen showed Jin Woo teaching other survivors how to make better tools from their gear. Even in competition, humans shared knowledge. Most species evolve natural weapons, Tahi explained. We evolved creativity. Every human child learns this without realizing it. When they play, they turn sticks into swords, boxes into houses, and paper into airplanes. The room was silent as they watched more footage. The humans had not just survived. They had changed how the other teams thought about their own equipment. There's something else you should know, Tahi said seriously. This ability isn't just about making weapons. Humans can turn anything into a tool for healing, building, or creating. We see possibilities everywhere. One of the oldest scientists stood up. I understand now, he said slowly. Humans aren't dangerous because they can make weapons. They're valuable because they can turn anything into a solution. Tahi nodded. Exactly. Give a human a problem and basic materials, and they'll find a way to solve it. It's what we do best. The screen showed one final scene. Jin Woo and Su Min teaching a group of alien competitors how to make better use of their survival gear. The humans were sharing their knowledge freely. This is why we're here, Tahi concluded. Not just to show what humans can do, but to help all species see new possibilities in the simple things around them. As the meeting ended, the alien scientists looked at their own equipment differently. They had learned an important lesson. Everything had more potential than they realized. All it took was learning to think like a human. The attack came during dinner time at Coalition Station 5. Do-hyun was in the kitchen, preparing meals for 300 people, when all the lights went out. Pirates, the station's AI announced. All security systems are down. Weapon systems disabled. Please stay calm. Do-hyun looked around his kitchen. His alien assistant cook, Mira, was shaking with fear. The pirates have dampening fields, she whispered. None of our weapons will work. Who said we need weapons? Do-hyun smiled, reaching for a large cooking pot. Help me gather all the kitchen staff. The pirates, a group of scaled creatures called the Racks, were known for their raids on space stations. They had technology that could shut down energy weapons and security systems. They thought this made them unstoppable. They hadn't counted on meeting humans. Everyone grab what you can. Do-hyun told his kitchen staff. Pots, pans, rolling pins, anything metal or heavy. He turned to the food storage area. And bring me all the spices, especially the hot ones. The pirates were moving through the station, taking valuable items and hostages. They reached the dining area, expecting to find scared, helpless people. Instead, they found an army of kitchen workers armed with cooking tools. Now, Do-hyun shouted. His staff threw clouds of spicy powder into the air. The pirates' eyes began burning. Their breathing became difficult. While they were confused, Do-hyun's team attacked with their kitchen tools. Heavy pots made excellent helmets and shields. Sharp knives found gaps in the pirates' armor. Hot cooking oil made the floors too slippery for the raiders to keep their balance. Fall back, the pirate leader shouted, but more surprises waited for them. Do-hyun had turned the kitchen into a fortress. Boiling water in large pots created steam that blocked the pirates' vision. Flour thrown into the air made it hard to breathe. Kitchen towels soaked in cleaning fluid became smoke bombs when lit. In the security room, the station's commander watched through backup cameras. Are those humans fighting off pirates with kitchen supplies? She asked in disbelief. The pirates tried to retreat, but found their path blocked. The humans had created traps using overturned tables, cooking wire, and slippery oils. Every attempt to escape led to more chaos. The freezer. Do-hyun called out to his team. Drive them toward the freezer. His staff understood the plan. Using pots and pans as drums, they created noise that confused the pirates' sensitive hearing. Step by step, they forced the raiders toward the large freezer. When the pirates realized the trap, it was too late. The heavy freezer doors slammed shut, locking them inside. You can't leave us in here, the pirate leader shouted through the door. Don't worry, Do-hyun answered. The temperature is only set to cold, not freezing. You'll be uncomfortable, but safe until security arrives. Within an hour, coalition forces reached the station. They found the situation already under control. 20 pirates were locked in the freezer, defeated by kitchen workers using cooking tools. "How did you know what to do?" the station commander asked Du Hyun later. "I'm a chef," he replied simply. "We learn to use everything in our kitchen carefully, because things can be dangerous. Hot oil can burn. Sharp knives can cut. Strong spices can blind. When you know how things can be dangerous, you know how to use them to defend yourself." The story spread quickly through the coalition. A small group of humans with kitchen tools had defeated armed pirates. It wasn't just soldiers who could turn ordinary items into weapons. It was every human. That evening, Du Hyun returned to his kitchen. The mess was huge, but he was already planning how to make it better. "Tomorrow," he told his staff, "I'll teach you all the other ways we can use our kitchen tools." Just in case. His alien staff looked at their simple cooking tools with new respect. They had learned what the pirates learned. In human hands, everything is a potential weapon, even a simple cooking spoon. 3 months after the station attack, the coalition made a big change. They created a new division called Human Tactical Innovation. Han Sol stood proudly as he watched the opening ceremony. The large training room was filled with everyday items: office supplies, kitchen tools, cleaning equipment, and basic machinery. Jin Woo and Su Min stood at the front, ready to teach their first official class. "Today marks a new chapter," Han Sol announced to the room full of alien military leaders. "Humans will teach all coalition forces how to think differently about common objects." The aliens in the room remembered recent events: Jin Woo's victory with cleaning supplies, the survival challenge success, and most importantly, Du Hyun's defense of Station 5 with kitchen tools. "Each human instructor will teach you 2 important things," Han Sol continued. "First, how to see the hidden uses of everyday items. Second, how to use simple objects to solve complex problems." Jin Woo stepped forward and picked up a simple pencil. "Let's start with something basic," he said. "Who can tell me 10 ways to use this?" The alien students looked confused. One raised a hand. "You can write with it, or maybe poke something." Jin Woo smiled and began his demonstration. He showed them how the pencil could be a measuring tool, a spacer, a lever, a splint for small injuries, a hair tie, a bookmark, a defensive weapon, a climbing aid, and more. "This is how humans think," Su Min explained. "We never see things for just one use. Everything has many purposes." In another corner, Du Hyun had set up a kitchen area. He was teaching security teams how to turn cooking tools into defensive weapons. "Remember," he said, showing them a rolling pin, "anything that can help you cook can also help you fight." The coalition leaders watched with growing interest. One of them turned to Han Sol. "We've been thinking about tools wrong all this time. We needed human creativity." "That's why we're here," Han Sol replied, "to help everyone see new possibilities." Suddenly, the lights went out. A test emergency started. Jin Woo smiled. He had planned this. "Quick," he called out. "Use what's around you to create light." The alien students looked around in panic, but then they remembered their lessons. One grabbed cooking oil and a string to make a simple lamp. Another used reflective surfaces to bounce the emergency lights. They were learning to think like humans. When the lights came back on, Han Sol saw pride on every face. The aliens hadn't just learned new tricks, they had learned a new way of thinking. "From today," Han Sol announced, "every coalition ship and station will have human advisors. They will teach our forces to use simple solutions for difficult problems." The training continued all day. By evening, the alien students were finding new uses for everything they touched. They finally understood why humans were so special to the coalition. Later, in his office, Han Sol wrote in his final report, "Humans don't make things into weapons because we want to fight. We see different uses for things because we want to survive. Our greatest strength isn't our ability to make weapons, it's our ability to find solutions." As he finished writing, Hansel looked out his window at the earth below the station. Humans had come a long way from using sticks and stones as tools. Now they were teaching the whole galaxy how to think creatively. Jinwoo knocked on his door. "Ready for tomorrow's big demonstration?" he asked. "We're showing them 50 ways to use a simple bedsheet." Hansel smiled. "The galaxy won't know what hit it." "No," Jinwoo laughed. "But they'll definitely be better prepared for whatever does." The coalition had learned its lesson well. Give a human any object, and they will find 100 ways to use it. That's not just human nature, it's human genius.